Hello, I'm Abby Pastoric, and this is my summary of my final project for my Marketing 345 class. I'm a third-year student here at WVU, and my first year was in engineering, but now I'm currently my second year in interior architecture, and I'm dual minoring in marketing and event planning. I also have 4 years of work experience at Sheets. So for this project, our goal was to learn how to manage a brand through social media channels. And the main goals that I had set for myself personally were to gain likes and followers on each platform, to grow knowledge of each social media, to make entertaining and informative content for my viewers, as well as communicate with my current followers in a different manner than I was before. To the right, you can see my logo, which I used for many of my profile pictures, and I made this myself at the beginning of the semester. So for my social media marketing strategy, I had a strategy to be successful by marketing my baking skills as an amateur baker on social media each week by making 3 posts to each platform every day of the work week. So for this project, we were not required to post on the weekends, and we were also supposed to post between 3 and 5, but I felt that 5 posts a day would be an overload amount of post for my viewers. I implemented it by showing my mistakes as well as my progress in my baking skills, making sure that I was as transparent as I possibly could be with my viewers and followers, especially as on most platforms, these followers were people that I already know in real life. So when it comes to achieving my goals, I think I did achieve them, but I also didn't because there was a shift in my strategy. When I started, I was focusing completely on baking, but as I went through the different social media channels, I started to shift my strategy into marketing both myself and my baking. These are examples of my posts. The first post you see on the left was made on X, and the middle one was a question that I asked on Facebook, and the right post was one of the vlogs I did on YouTube Shorts. For my organization software, I mainly used an app called Hookle. It was free, but then if you wanted to pre-plan in advance more than 3 posts a day, you had to pay $10 a month, which I thought was extremely fair for an app like this. I use this source for Facebook, X, LinkedIn, and Pinterest. When it came to YouTube, I could have potentially set it up on one of those platforms, but when you go onto YouTube on a laptop, it actually lets you just set the premiere date on there, so it became easier for me to edit and then plan them all out on there and have them just post whenever I need them to and not have to use a third-party website. And then for Instagram, I could have done it on Hookle also, but it wouldn't let me attach my account for some reason. It was some mess up with Facebook. So I ended up just posting all of those 3 separate times a day on Instagram. I also, for most of them, I tried to do one at 6 a.m., one at noon, and one at 6 p.m. just to spread my posts out throughout the day so that I could see which time of day got the most interaction. Whereas on Instagram, I was only posting the highlights of my day, so I just posted them whenever I saw fit. One of the things that we had to do every week for each new platform was reverse engineering. So we had to go through and we had to look up different creators that are already on each source, and we had to find both creators that were competition and creators that knew what they were doing very well on each website. So I took all of these that I found for the most part and I made a combination of them for all of my posts. And I also, in my time, have used a lot of social media, especially on YouTube and Instagram. So for those, I have seen a lot naturally what people post, what does well, and this worked extremely well for those sites. But when it came to something like Pinterest, I had never personally used Pinterest before, so I had to rely on this reverse engineering much more. I also wanted to make sure that I could find these people that were specifically in my niche both large bakers and small bakers to see what they were doing and how their platform was growing. My post types, I tried to post a wide variety of things when it came to baking and lifestyle. I posted step-by-step tutorials. I posted my hand-printed recipe cards that I wrote out, which also are nice because I get to keep them for the future. I posted questions, which tended to get a lot of interaction. I posted vlogs, and I also posted my finished baking every week just in case the person didn't want to watch the initial recipe video. For a lot of my recipes, I would post the recipe card on, say, Facebook, and then post the baking video on YouTube, but also post the finished product on both Facebook and on YouTube so that both platforms could see, because I feel like that was the most important aspect. My main goals for these posts were to gain likes and comments. As much as it's nice to have a high number of people who see your thing, if they do not interact with it, then it didn't have an impact on them. And then my tone that I used was mainly about fun, but sometimes I wanted to promote my other channels and educate people on how to bake, but most of the time I just wanted to be seen as a baker who is learning at the same time, not striving for perfection, because I feel that relatability was a huge factor in getting people to interact. These were my posts with the highest engagement. On the left is a picture of my dad and my sister that I posted on Facebook. This was by far my highest interaction on Facebook, mainly because I didn't just get interaction on the post, but I also had family that would, call me and talk to me about it. The middle post is on Instagram, and this post I think got the most interaction on my Instagram because it looks like a post that I would have made on my typical social media. The post on the right, when I posted a YouTube short, they were kind of all over the place on how many views, how many likes. This one got 17 likes, which was my highest, and if I remember correctly, it only got one dislike, which was pretty good for me too on my scale of dislikes, considering I didn't have very good software to edit or record with. My best channels were by far Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. The reason they were so successful is because on Facebook, my mom has a very large following. So the first week I was on Facebook, I did not ask her to share it, but I did on the second week, and instantly my amount of followers skyrocketed. I think I gained like 30 followers in the span of one day. On Instagram, I have the most followers of any of the 6 accounts that we did on Instagram. So this was my one platform that if I was going to spread personally, it had to be here. I shared it on the first day I had it, not only to my Facebook, but also to my personal Instagram story. And this really helped. And as I suspected, many of my close friends went and they liked and they commented and they did all of those things on my new Instagram page. YouTube was also the best because typically it works the same way with TikTok, and they have an algorithm where normally at least 3 or 4 people are shown every single short, and then if that gets a like, it spreads further and further and further the more likes and more comments it gets. It also, I was able to go more in depth because those videos don't gain a lot of traction on most of the other sites that we used. So overall, I would say YouTube was my most successful, and these are the 3 that if I were to continue marketing myself, these are the 3 platforms that I would do it on. For my analytics, I did not personally think the analytics helped that much, only because pretty much from the start I knew what would do well and what wouldn't. But it did help me to see who was viewing my posts a lot, which was not something that you can see on other businesses' pages. It also, the use of Hookle provided easy access to multiple of my platforms all at one time, so I didn't necessarily have to go searching. And then it showed me what kinds of posts did the best, which allowed me to get higher engagement by repeating those posts, such as when I ask a question, I typically get more comments, but when I post a picture that has me or my boyfriend or my family in it, it gets a lot more likes and not as many comments. When I was posting and I was sharing my platforms on my other websites, I specifically did not share my X, LinkedIn, or Pinterest because I did not already have an account on those that had a following whatsoever. So I wanted to make sure that I could keep those authentic and see if they did authentically gain any subscribers or followers. And they interestingly did not. Pinterest did get some views, but not really any followers or likes, but it did have a couple people seeing my things. But overall, it was definitely extremely important that I share and I do all these things on my main account in order for them to gain traction. And that was just a quick overview of the past 8 weeks of this project. But I really had a good time, even though it got a little intense. I had a great time making the post, and I think I learned a lot that I will definitely use in the future.